The source of all problems between people is nothing but ego. When people are fighting, it is because of ego. We're not talking about difference of opinion. Difference of opinion can exist and should exist. It's rich, diverse, beautiful, shows different perspective, and different people can take care of different departments. Not very different from there were five blind men who were exposed to a new entity called an elephant. They were asked to describe what an elephant looks like. One blind man was holding the trunk. He described the elephant as a large tube with wrinkles on it, and another one was holding the tusk. I was describing it as a hard, curved, sharp, smooth object. No one person was wrong, but no one person was complete. Each person could describe the elephant based on his or her own experience instead of fighting about it. I am not wrong, you are wrong. I can tell you I am holding it, I am touching it right now. And the other person says, do you think I'm a fool? I'm holding it and I can put my money on it. It feels this way. And they continue to fight. When it is egocentric, ego-oriented, versus if we listen to the other person's perspective and have an additive experience. It is an and. It is not an or. Either one person is right or the other person is right. Perhaps it is more like, I am right and so are you. Life is a jigsaw puzzle that almost nobody has been able to solve. Life is something that has to be lived and experienced from your vantage point, with eyes wide open, with ears wide open, with minds wide open, and most importantly, with hearts wide open. There's a quotation which goes by, this world is one large hospital and everyone is bedridden. We're all sick in some way, afflicted with some sort of disease or the other. The biggest and the most common of all disease is illusion, Maya. We all see life from colored lenses. We all hear it from colored filters. And no matter what may be going on, we have a certain experience based on how we conceive it or see it, based on our past experiences, based on our fears, based on our likes and dislikes. Not just likes and dislikes, sometimes extreme likes and extreme dislikes. And instead of accepting the life as is unfolding, seeing it, experiencing it, we tend to judge it, saying that, how could I be wrong? Not only I am right, but I am the only one who is right. And we're not going to get too much into ego, but the definition of ego we're using is, which I love, is identification with this body and this particular mind, which is my own thoughts. And we get so wedded with our body and mind complex. Is there anything that opposes it in any way? We oppose that person, even though the other person may be saying something for our best interest or doing something for our best interest. And another thing, no one really knows what's best for you. Absolutely no one. Even we ourselves don't know what is best for us. Oftentimes, people would come to Phyllis asking for advice, like you go to a wise person or maybe a soothsayer. Should I do this? Should I do that? And people did that because they knew that Phyllis was connected to the high sea. But I've heard Phyllis say many times, she said, me, Phyllis, does not know what is best for you. She said, I don't know what is best for you, but high sea does. And that's the key. Coming from this egocentric place, when we start advising people and we start taking other individual people's advice or making changes in our lives based on those individual egocentric perspectives, we suffer. And then we hate those people or dislike those people or get angry at those people. The truth is that no one knows what is best for you, but high sea does. Coming back to this original conversation point, that the source of trouble, the source of problems between individuals is ego. And what is the solution? The solution really is love. प्रेम मुदित मन से कहो राम 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 श्री राम 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 पाप कटे दुख मिटे लेके राम नाम पाप कटे दुख मिटे. So here it is not about Ram Nam alone. Ram Nam will, the name of Lord Rama will do it. But so will the name of your own chosen individual high sea. Allah, Jesus, Jehovah, or no name at all. You don't have to be so-called believer of God in a religious way. Whatever entity that is. It is such a gift. What religions have given as a gift, as a common gift for humanity, is name of God. The name of God is flowing within me. So when we are afflicted with the egocentric thing, name of God, any name of God that you choose will lift your spirits up. It is like a flotation device. Instead of you sinking into this ocean of the worldly nonsense, brings you up to the surface, lets you breathe. But really, 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 it is love. If I can take a step back and instead of being loggerheads, and take a perspective of love, seeing myself from the eyes of love, seeing the other person from the eyes of love, giving myself this virtual hug or physical hug, like literally putting your arms around you and saying, I love me. That affirmation itself is good enough. But really, अपने हित के लिए कुछ करो भाई. Do something that is favorable to you, not in a selfish manner. Not hurting myself, not allowing the other person to hurt me. And perhaps having a conversation with a loved one, with a friend, about how I feel can help you see that we become very narrow-minded about he said, she said. Instead, we can take a larger point of view from a large-heartedness, from an open heart full of love, whatever that means for you. Even shifting gears in terms of change of conversation, change of scenery, not talking and thinking about that egotist problematic situation can also help change of mood. And then seeing only good in it. Well, I know there's a problem. Is there good in this problem, or good in this person, or good in this relationship? Start sort of like looking at only the good. And that can sometimes shift the perspective. Oftentimes, the ego mania seeks only what is missing, what is wrong. I'm not saying that there is nothing wrong. There can be a problem. Often there is a problem. So instead of blowing the problem out of proportion, the idea is to look at solutions. And we look at solutions only from the eyes of love, from the heart of love, from the ears of love, by asking questions and listening to the responses instead of imposing mandates, judgment, and then coming to a solution that is amicable. The point here is, कुत्ते की पूंछ के ऊपर पैर रखने से कोई फायदा नहीं होएगा. Stepping on anyone's tail, I mean, imagine you stepping up on a dog's or a cat's tail. The animal screeches and wants to bite you. That's exactly what happens when two egos clash. We step on each other's tail and there's shouting. So what do? We don't step on each other's tails. Every animal loves their tail. Every person loves their ego. No one likes to have their ego being destroyed, because the ego itself will protect itself from being destroyed. So it is perhaps best not to step on anyone's egos and find other ways of communication, debate, arguments, going back to that image of we're all really blindly going in through our lives. No one really knows full truth. Perhaps if all people collectively got together, all people who have ever lived, and they found a common media of communication, perhaps then we will come to a common vantage point, like the main facet of this diamond. And then we can see the truth with all the various facets, including mine. From that facet, I honor me. I honor all the other point of views or perspectives, varied, different, even opposing. Every point of view, perspective has a place, and so does mine. I love me. I love you. I may not understand you. I may not agree with you. I may not appreciate it. I may not want it. Not very different from various flavors of ice cream. We go to a parlor and then we tend to like or choose one or two or three different flavors put together or individually. And while somebody else may pick a flavor that may be repugnant for you, but the other person loves it, those individual likes and dislikes are what defines our ego. And let it exist. It makes life more interesting, let's say. I love me.